So I wanted to do, I had like a little idea, since there's been more and more of you coming around here recently and following this page, I wanted to do a bit of a get to know me, where I started, education, that kind of thing, so that you got to know the person behind the art and the calligraphy and everything a little bit more. So to start with, I went to university at Northampton and did fashion design, and it was in the second year of that we did our specialisms, so you could either choose fashion, printed textiles, or footwear and bags and accessories. And I chose printed textiles, so I learnt part of my painting kind of developed then. I didn't do a foundation course or anything, I just went straight to uni, so my love of painting kind of came up throughout then. A lot of my screen prints and digital prints were based on my paintings, and that's kind of how that evolved. But I didn't really like the fashion element of things, so I didn't really like that industry, or I wasn't too interested. I know, you learn from your decisions, don't you? I wasn't really that interested in clothing per se. I was more, my passion kind of lay in the home and how to decorate the home and homeware, and I would much rather go and buy home accessories than I would clothing. So I anyway graduated with a first class honours degree, so that was amazing. I really was astounded, to be honest, so that was amazing. Then went straight out of uni and continued with my marketing job that I was doing throughout the summers, and kind of did that for about 5 years. Then went on to another job as a category manager, and it was all sales and branding, and I was responsible for all the numbers. So within our team, I was kind of able to say what products were selling, what weren't, blah blah blah. And I ended up, I was there, must have been less than a year, and I just had a mental breakdown. I hadn't painted in about 6 years and done any kind of creative work. I was going to work every day, looking at spreadsheets, looking at numbers, looking at sales, analysing data, and I just lost it basically. So I was signed off 2 months sick with anxiety and depression, and one of the things that the doctors said to me was, just do something that you love, just spend your days, don't, you know, if you don't want to get out of bed, don't get out of bed, but just spend the time, spend the 2 months off doing something that you really enjoy. So for me, that was painting, and I think me and my mum went to Newark Antiques Fair, and that kind of spurred things on a little bit, because I love antiques and all stuff like that, and painted furniture, and so that kind of, even though tractor even though I was just like a shell of a person at that point, I really did find a love of painting again, and spending that time, you know, developing my art. Even from then, I was painting flowers, you know, I just spent my days having a go at that, seeing if it was something I could do, and I knew in the back of my mind it was kind of making me more anxious, the thought of going back to that job again and going back to that environment. And I knew even before the 2 months were up, I was like, I cannot go back to that job, I cannot go back to that environment. The thought of it just made my anxiety worse. So I had to think of a plan to do something that's where I could still live and earn money, but that was creative and something I was really passionate about and really loved doing every day. So that's where the painting kind of spurred on, and I went in after the 2 months and quit. And honestly, the weight that comes off your shoulders when you know that you do not have to ever see anyone in that environment. And it wasn't like anybody particularly like upset me or anything, it was the job, but just, oh my God, it was insane. And then fortunately, I mean, I was still living at home at that point, and I am still living at home now, which is why I was able to kind of invest as much money as I have done into this business so far, and kind of grow it organically, because at the time, obviously, I wasn't mentally very well, and I wasn't doing this from a monetary perspective at that point. It was more of a do something to get you better. So I was doing my painting, and I was going to therapy every week, and I've been going every week for about a year and a half, and then slowly I've moved it on to like every 2 or 3 weeks, and that's been a huge help, along with the fact that I don't have to go into that office environment and look at spreadsheets all day, which if you love it then that's great, but that just wasn't something that was for me. So that's how the painting started, and I continue to do that today, so that's amazing. The calligraphy was that came as something, again, following in the footsteps of the doctor saying do something that you love. It was something that I'd always wanted to learn. So I bought a book off Amazon and got some tracing paper, traced over the alphabet, and kind of just repeated it again and again and again, and almost made my own workbook, like you can get the calligraphy workbooks now, and kind of made my own little workbook, and found a font that I liked and just adapted it to kind of suit my style a little bit more. And then my sister was getting married, and she was like, Rosie, I want you to do the calligraphy for my wedding. So I had to learn very quickly how to make that not look terrible. I've still kept my first attempts at calligraphy, and it was horrendous. But yeah, that is just a case of anybody can do that. It's just a case of trial and error, and you really have got to put the hours in. Like, the amount of times I've written certain words now must be like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. How it's just the practice, you develop your talent and skill with it, and yeah, and I still really love doing that today, and it's a big part of the products that I offer. So that's with the calligraphy. I mean, the dyeing that I do now, the natural dyeing, that's kind of come about from my time at university. So dyeing was a big part of the textile design and creating fabrics for clothes. So but we always did it with synthetic dyes in the print room, so been really nice to learn how to do it with natural dyes, and that again is something that I've learned from books and reading, and that's kind of because it's just little old me sat here in the studio all the time. I do watch YouTube videos and use books and try and learn and develop my skills that way. But yeah, so it's been 2.5 years, I think. Oh no, it hasn't. Oh my God. No, has it been 3 years? I think. Or has it been 2 years? No, I think it's been 3 years this November. Oh my God, I need to figure that out, because it will be like it's my anniversary of the Edie Rose Ashley business in the beginning of November. So I will check that out, because that's completely, I don't know. So one final thing before I go, because I'm waffling on quite a lot, is the name. So Edie Rose Ashley is the name of my business. So my name is Rosie. My birth name is Rosie Ashley. But I didn't want to pick that name because I felt like it sounded too much like Laura Ashley, which people still ask me if I'm related, and I'm not. But Edie is a nickname that my mum calls me. So I was toying with so many different ideas of what I wanted it to be. So I thought Edie Rosie Ashley sounds a bit weird. So I changed it to Edie Rose Ashley. And I thought like that was a little bit longer, sounded nice. And the Edie part, my mum is very creative like me. And it was that was my arty side of things. So yeah, that's my little... Well, I say little, it's been about 10 minutes. Introduction to me. So I hope you enjoyed it, and there'll be more videos to come. Thanks, bye.